Should active nutrition brands get ready for a new year, new me pull forward effect? In the active nutrition industry, quarter one is their Super Bowl. In the first quarter of every year, it really sets a tone for all the active nutrition brands' success throughout the year. And this usually is because there's a ton of kind of front loaded seasonality to the industry. And mostly because almost half of all American adults make either some type of weight loss or exercise or dietary regimen goals for their New Year's resolution. So that's about like 120 million American adults that are now actively looking for information, services, or products that can help them get to their goal that are either adjacent or directly related to the active nutrition industry. A perennial top three New Year's resolution goal over the last few decades has been that Americans have wanted to lose weight. It's no secret that Americans struggle with their weight. The latest CDC data, I think that's coming from 2018, said that 42% of American adults are obese. Now, 3 years, a lot has changed. My guess is that the obesity rate has actually increased over that time. But if you combine these kind of grim health trends with the popularity of that New Year's resolution for weight loss, and you combine it with just the amount of attention and interest in dietary supplements, it's at an all time high right now, you might assume that there has been a huge spike in the weight management category of supplements. But that's not quite the case. The $2 billion US weight management category has actually struggled over the last half decade or so. And why is this happening? I think, firstly, the weight management category is lacking that kind of major, really strong, effective ingredient in the post ephedra era. There's also been a ton of intense scrutiny from the FDA and the FTC around weight management innovation. So brands have naturally just kind of shied away from focusing on that category. A lot of the private equity venture fund capital that has been flowing into the category has kind of put a bad strike on if you have a ton of weight management as a mix of your overall business. And then, maybe most importantly, is that the weight management category has had a ton of bad reputation around overhyped marketing with this idea of the magic pill. Still, consumers are interested in the weight management category, but active nutrition brands need to think about the category much differently. Modern supplement consumers want to be fit and healthy, not necessarily just skinny. They want to live a happy life, balancing great food and not necessarily having to kind of count calories and restrict themselves immensely. So, in place of that one standout ingredient, active nutrition brands should be thinking about a more holistic approach and creating weight management solutions that work with, not necessarily advertised like it's a replacement to, a healthy diet and exercise protocol. Active nutrition brands need to focus on a variety of different products, education, and in some cases, maybe even service level add ons to help consumers more effectively break the cycle of obesity. While there's still going to be a ton of those quick fix or instant gratification customers in the market, most of today's weight management consumers are not necessarily special snowflakes if we're comparing this to the overall consumer market that sees wellness through a broad and holistic lens that includes fitness, overall health, nutrition, sleep, mindfulness, and appearance. As I mentioned earlier, the most updated CDC weight numbers are likely understated compared to the reality of today. Why do I say that? The COVID-19 effect really kind of elevated a sedentary behavior with Americans, and 61% of Americans have said they've packed on some extra weight since the pandemic began. And if you think about the 2021 Q1, the market setup for weight management was not all that great. You still had a ton of fear, uncertainty, restricted living, and restricted travel. So people have been indoors really for the last like kind of year and a half. And a lot of them are thinking, why get healthy or focus on weight gain when I have all kinds of other things to focus on? I'm not necessarily maybe going into the office and meeting people. Maybe I'm not necessarily going out in the world all that often. So I'm not necessarily all that worried about the way that I look. Now, I'm not saying that's the right mentality. It's actually the complete opposite of that, but it's still the reality. And it seems like a lot of active nutrition categorical data will prove that. The pandemic spurred an increase in focus in overall health that produced a halo effect across the entire supplement industry to historical level in 2020. But if we look at the weight management category and kind of fat burner pills, that category in 2020 was down 7%. So if everything else is growing 20, 30, maybe even more than that year over year, in that category, a mature, consistent category is declining 7%. There's a lot of things going on there. So will 2022 quarter one be any different? Many industry analysts like myself believe that we are going to see this kind of super cycle that happens in this upcoming quarter one, which might mark the biggest weight loss season ever. The market setup looks much better as supplements have just only gained interest in the public's eye. You have consumer mobility that's up, consumer confidence that's up, and the weight management kind of challenge has only gotten worse. So, getting back to that introductory question around a pull forward effect that could happen, I think that supplement brands, active nutrition brands, shouldn't wait for January 1st to start up their business strategies to attract the new year, new you customers that will be coming into the market over the last decade or so, not counting this kind of period right now. American consumers have been pretty spoiled in terms of how quick they can get the variety of the products that they're looking for as quick as they need them. So they tend to wait very long to purchase their products. But during the past probably year and a half, many of these American consumers are shopping earlier. The US consumer market has been conditioned by the COVID-19 effect era to buy early and not wait for out of stock products to be replenished. According to a recent survey, 40% of Americans expect to shop earlier than they did the previous year because they anticipate shortages, supply chain disruptions, maybe longer shipping delays. And now that's not necessarily active nutrition industry data, but this generalization should be seen as strongly correlated as Americans do understand that this isn't necessarily like a category by category thing. This is a market wide problem, so you need to shop accordingly. So there definitely will be a strong pull forward effect that's going to happen for this typical kind of New Year's resolution crowd that I believe will start a few weeks earlier this year, sometime in the early part or mid part of December 2021. And active nutrition brands should be prepared for this or risk losing out on this rush of new consumers. So I want to shift the latter part of this content to more of like a strategic game plan, just kind of adding some value for you guys here. While I do believe that the upcoming season will be bountiful, it won't be without its own challenges. And there's a lot of interesting consumer behaviors that are going on right now that I think active nutrition brands can take advantage of. The first is around that consumers are willing to switch right now. Many consumers haven't hesitated to shop elsewhere when their products are out of stock. Over 60% of consumers have faced some out of stock situation over the last 3 months when they were trying to purchase a product that they are interested in. But of those that did face that out of stock situation, only 13% of them waited for that product to be replenished. So brand loyalty is at an all-time low, which can be an extremely scary statistic or an extremely opportunistic statistic based on what your position is in the market and how confident you are in your inventory management controls. Remember that short-term fixes and long-term planning should be applied to prioritize procuring the most important items in your product portfolio. This is really the time to protect your house. So if you're struggling to stay in stock for your most important products or just products as a whole, you really need to communicate early and often with consumers and enable customers to really check on whether these items are really in stock, communicate maybe when they're going to be coming back in stock, maybe some additional alternative options for substitutes, and a variety of other options that really create a two-way communication with customers so they can stay informed about their upcoming purchases. Now, if you aren't struggling with your inventory management, you're going to be in stock even with elevated demand planning and different things like that, then this is your time to be super aggressive and get that bag. This is your time to acquire as many customers as possible. And after you did acquire these customers, you need to be aggressive on the retention so you can keep those customers from recycling back to their original brands. With these consumers that maybe are looking for new products because they did face an out of stock situation, there's going to be maybe two behaviors that need to be really important to look at for how they're going to discover new brands and new products. Now, if the customer is maybe direct to consumer focused, dominant customer, they're going to be looking at social media to get influence on their next purchase. 58% of consumers do say that they're influenced by social media for their purchases. If we kind of pull this into some of the more important generations, so Generation Z, that number jumps up to 87%. In millennials, that number jumps to 83%. Now, on the marketplace driven or dominated consumer, they're really going to have that algorithm, machine learning, tell them exactly what products are a strong substitute for what they're looking for. So, making sure you know the levers to pull to make sure you are ranked in the right areas on the marketplaces like Walmart and Amazon will be extremely important this season. You also want to consider maybe educational personalization. What's that adage? Give a man a fish and you feed him for the day, but teach him how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. If you're thinking about this analogy with weight management, fat burners are really going to be what are going to be sold to somebody that they're not going to really learn all that much. They're going to probably use the product, maybe not change a lot of their other elements of their lifestyle. It's not going to work for them. You're going to end up trying to retain that customer. That customer is going to go back maybe into the market. It's just going to be really high customer acquisition costs, maybe not very good from a customer lifetime value. But if active nutrition brands are focused on educating a wide range of customers on the different factors that do cause weight fluctuations, weight gain, and really kind of considering that the needs of a 21-year-old and the needs of a 55-year-old are very different in this category. So it's not a one size fits all category. So providing personalized support with content marketing is key to retaining the wide range of consumers that are interested in the weight management category. Brands that understand that there's a wide variety of causes to weight gain or difficulty managing weight will have a better shot at gaining market share. Active nutrition brands should also consider moving up the promotional calendar since there should be a strong pull forward effect in the latter part of December of 2021. It's critical for you to move up your promotional calendar forward. Now, it's very easy for you to do that on either your direct to consumer website, maybe some of those specialty e-commerce websites or small specialty retailers and marketplaces. But if we're looking at some of those large retailers, food, drug, mass, convenience, sales channel type partners, those promotional calendars are set in stone. You tend not to have too much of an availability to change those. So you're kind of stuck on those. So ramping up those other ones that you can kind of focus on and making sure you are attracting as much of that pull forward effect as you can will be a huge strategy to consider right now. Active nutrition brands should also consider getting creative and driving meaningful experience because there's so many different customers that are going to be new into the category and maybe new to your brand and products. This is really the time to create that first impression. This is the time to shine. This is the time to show off your brand, the experience, what people should really be getting from it, your why. All of those different things should be extremely important right now for brands because this is your one shot to gain a ton of new customers. And you want to retain those customers. So you want to show them what is special about your brand, your products that will alleviate their need to search around the market for substitutes in the future. And kind of going along with that, the last kind of area to focus on is making this fun. The COVID-19 effect really brought on a different way for American shoppers to think about the idea of shopping. It's no longer just necessity or utility, there's also an element of entertainment. Now, this was popularized in China with the idea of shop attainment, but American brands would be rewarded by adding elements of entertainment and content into their commerce. But I just want to end on some final thoughts. Active nutrition brands will undoubtedly face a ton of challenges with this new year season. However, the predicted strong demand will create a ton of opportunities for those active nutrition brands that can stay agile, anticipate early, and identify the right marketing channels, optimize inventory, and meet the current consumer demands. If you enjoyed this YouTube video, hit the like button for me. If you want to support me more, hit that subscribe button. I have a current goal of hitting 2,000 subscribers very soon. You can be a part of this. It would mean a lot to me. About 4/5 of you that are watching this video right now are not subscribed to me, and me just knowing that from Google Analytics makes me cry. So hit that subscribe button, help me out, turn that frown upside down. But I just want to thank you for tuning into this video, and I'll see you on the next one.